Greetings, the K Bizzy greets you for another episode of Halftime with K Bizzy. Today we have a very, very special guest. I don't even know how this happened. Well, I do know how this happened actually. It was all from a shitpost tweet that I'll put up on screen. And it was really just me. I don't know. I tried to reach out to Launders and WarOwl numerous times via email and, companies they worked with and all types of stuff. And I just didn't really have any luck. I don't know why I thought it'd be a good idea to make that tweet, but I mean, it worked. So I don't know. Mission accomplished. Anyways, we have the WarOwl joining us today. This one hits home for me big time, as this is somebody who I have been watching, since I started playing Counter-Strike in September of 2015. And never, ever thought that I'd be talking one-on-one with WarOwl. I'm not really gonna talk too much. I feel like I ramble a lot in these intros, so we're gonna not do that today. And I hope you guys enjoy the new merchandise that is now available. The link to the Halftime Etsy merch shop is in the description. Go check it out and show it some love. I've been getting a lot of love on my main channel too, and I appreciate that a lot. The main channel is obviously KBizzyCS. But yeah, anyways, way too much to talk about when it comes to WarOwl, so I'm gonna let him take the honors here to tell us himself. We're gonna jump right into the episode. I would also like to mention too, for some reason, my microphone gain was set at 100 for this one. I had no idea until the episode was finished, and fuck. I apologize for the audio quality is what I'm trying to say, because I had to change volume levels and stuff like that. I don't know why my mic gain was at 100%, so that kind of sucked, but I think you guys will be able to look past that and enjoy today's episode. We will catch you guys on the outro. Peace.
Thank you for inviting me on your podcast.
Yeah,
I
man.
looked at the people you had on there before me, and I know a lot of them, which is cool.
Yeah, it's it's been a crazy grind, but I like a good challenge, and having another well-known name that's been, dated back to the beginning of CS:GO, such as yourself, is pretty awesome. So I'm sure the people listening will like it, and yeah, I know I appreciate it big time. Thank you very much.
So what's your vision for your podcast? I see you're hitting a lot of the Counter-Strike guys, right?
Yeah, like it's definitely more like Counter-Strike focused, but like I know there's podcasts out there that I don't know, kind of cater more to like the pro scene, but like me personally, I don't know, I just like I love hearing people's stories and stuff like that, and I feel like there's a lot of people that I like. I feel like there's a lot of people that many other people like, and we don't really hear about them, which just like you just see them once they've already gotten their success, and it just kind of makes me anyway kind of just go like, I wonder how that happened. Like sometimes it seems like things happen overnight, but that's not the case, obviously. So I kind of wanted to just provide the platform to have anybody come on, like people that make maps, people that make skins, people like yourself that make YouTube videos and this is your job, or streamers, all that kind of stuff, and kind of just, talk about the history and, how they found themselves on this journey and where it's led them and how it's impacted their lives and that sort of thing.
Well, that's awesome. I haven't seen anybody else really doing that. Like you said, the ones I've seen are mostly talking about the pro scene stuff.
Yeah.
So that's cool. Yeah, that's good information to get out there.
Alrighty, so we need to hear the most iconic introduction Counter-Strike has ever heard. Who do we have the pleasure of talking to on this fine Saturday morning?
Hey guys, welcome back to another WarOwl. No, I'll do it for real. I'm actually gonna get the
Oh,
the
shit.
filter out. Yeah, we're gonna get the audio settings right.
Okay.
Greetings, the WarOwl greets you. How's that?
Beauty.
People say I fake my voice. There's no trickery here.
We just pulled that out of the hat right there. That was not scripted. Incredible, man. Do you ever get sick of doing that intro at this point in time?
No, not really. In fact, I will tell you that when I was starting doing YouTube and I was working as a software dev, as I was driving to and from work, I would practice that over and over again in the car like a psychopath. So just to get the intonation right, because like when I first started making videos, I didn't really have a good voice. I had to like develop the voice for it. So I sat there in the car while I was driving, just going like, "Greetings, hi, the WarOwl greets you. Greetings, hi, the WarOwl," just trying to get it right. I've pretty much always loved gaming. I've played games. My dad played games. That's how I got into it, because he had the Nintendo system. So I remember when I was like an infant watching people play Super Mario and Legend of Zelda on the NES. Uh, I think I got into Half-Life and then Team Fortress Classic. And the first time I played Counter-Strike, I believe, was actually in a cyber cafe. So I was
Okay.
hanging out with my cousin and my brother, and we went to a cyber cafe. I wonder if younger people even know what that is. I know in other countries, people definitely do, because I think they still have them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, Basically, if you didn't have a game or a computer or systems like that, you would go to another building where you'd basically rent time to use the computer. So we went there, and everybody was playing this game called Counter Strike. It was the original Counter Strike. I believe this was in either it was I think it was in 2000,
Oh, okay.
somewhere around 2000 2001, and yeah, I just fell in love with the game right there. I remember my first game, and I remember this number specifically. I had a kill death ratio of 1 kill and 15 deaths.
Oof.
My first time playing it, and I was like, no, this is, even though I was having fun just hanging out with people and playing the game, I was like, no, this is unacceptable. I got to get better at this. I don't want to be the guy who's getting beat up by everybody here. Even though I was a child at the time. I think I was like 10 years old or something like that, which just dated myself.
This episode of Halftime with K Bizzy is brought to you in part by PriceEmpire.com. PriceEmpire.com is absolutely loaded with essential tools for any skin enthusiast. Whether it be their blog, their price comparison app, the trending deals, or your personal inventory tracker, I mean, Price Empire really has it all. PriceEmpire.com is trusted by more than 1 million users on Trustpilot to ensure everybody that it is a fair and legit website. PriceEmpire.com is linked in the description. Go step your skins game up today.
But yeah, absolutely fell in love with the game. And you know what? I'm gonna make fun of my cousin for a little bit. So let's hope he's watching this, because that'd be funny. We went back to his place, and he was like, "Oh, I actually own Counter-Strike." I was like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, I'll burn you a copy." So he burns, if you guys remember that, burning CD
Oh, yeah.
discs. So this was pre-Steam, by the way. So he burned us burned us a copy. We took it back home, and he had burned the shortcut from his desktop onto this
Oh my god.
tiny little file. Like, oh yeah, that's Counter-Strike, right?
Wow. And that's what started everything. That's what started it all.
Yeah, eventually we got the game for ourselves, my brother and I, and just kept playing it. I played it on and off for, 24 years, 25 years, something like that. I remember my brother and I, we were in college, we were running a FY Ice World server. And so we'd play on that like every single day. And that was like a good way to develop your aim. We didn't know it at the time because we were just playing for fun. But that is basically like an aim map, kind of like warm-up map type thing from back in the day. So just like doing that over and over and over and over again, you kind of develop an aim and develop an ability to play the game.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's always so cool for me to hear personally. And sorry if you hear my dogs barking in the background. I think someone's outside. But it's always super interesting to hear about like the early days of CS, because like when you look at it back then and then you look at it now, like it's evolved so much. It's wild.
Absolutely. It's completely changed though, because it used to be more of a community thing where you would have community run servers and moderators. And it was sort of like going to an IRL hangout place where you knew everybody there. People knew you when you came. When you joined the server, they go, "Hey, it's WarOwl!" And you'd hang out, you'd play games, you'd have fun. If a bad apple came in or somebody was disrespecting people, you just ban them. You get rid of them.
Yeah,
If somebody
yeah.
tries to cheat, you just ban them right away. They're gone in a second. So I feel like we've lost that, to be honest. Everything now is just focused on like the 5v5 competitive, and which I think is the best way to play the game, but I still feel like that community aspect has been kind of lost to time, which in every game it seems.
Yeah, absolutely. It has for sure. So you're not. I apologize.
No, I was just saying, like, I always felt like gaming used to be a little bit more social in that aspect. Now it's like you have your group of friends and you organize on like Discord, so you still play socially, but it's not like an open community space anymore. You're exposed to everybody in the world playing the game.
Yeah, and once you're on a big platform like that, it's just sometimes you just, like you said, you get the bad apples, and it's just some people literally just log on just to go, okay, I'm gonna fuck your day up. I want to make sure that you have a miserable time playing Counter Strike. And it's just like, like, why do we have that?
Hey, that's fun sometimes though. Go play something like EVE Online and just ruin people's day. That could be fun in the proper context. In Counter Strike, it's not as cool.
No. Some people just, I don't know, they just get off to like, oh, I'm going to team kill you, or I'm going to body block you while you peek every round. It's just like, sometimes they're just completely unprovoked. Like, some weird people out there.
Yeah, just get rid of them.
Yeah. I wish you could just hit that ban button. Yeah, for sure.
We used to be able to do that. I got banned from the server that I frequented. It was like a custom map server, and I used to play there like every night. I have friends that I still have, like lifelong friends that I met playing that, who I've met in person.
Oh,
and
man.
I got banned because they thought I was cheating. So they were like, "Oh, you're clearly wall." Because I actually once I started playing the like pickup games, the 10-mans, the 5v5s, and started getting into that. The first time I remember doing that, we did like a captain's pick type thing, and I was the last picked player. I was like the fat kid picked for dodgeball. It was awful, and it was an awful feeling. So I remember at that point being like, you know what? No, I'm not. That's not happening again. I'm going to be the first one picked. So that's when I really started trying to learn how to play the game better and practicing and doing all of those sorts of things. And it did work because like maybe a month, like I think 2 months later, I was the guy who was getting picked first. And I was like, oh, that feels so good. I've done it. Well, yeah, that server that I played on, they banned me because at that point, like I had just like learned how to play, and then they're like, "Oh, you're clearly cheating." I remember it exactly. So it was on the map. What's that Western map? Made by
Oh. Yeah.
I think it's called Westwood.
Yeah, I think it's Westwood. Yeah.
So I figured out that like most of the walls on there were wall bangable, and you could see people's shadows through the walls. This was on Source. This wasn't 1.6.
Mm-hmm.
And so I bought an auto sniper, and I was just like, dot, 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 dot. The admin got so mad, he banned me permanently. And then my friend, who I'm still friends with today, got so mad that I got banned that he started just team killing the admin, and he got banned too. So.
Damn.
There's this. I don't think I've ever told that story, so that's fun.
That's interesting, dude. Hey, you got a good friend, man. You're getting permabanned. If you're getting permabanned, that's a ride or die right there.
Yeah. You'll have to ban us both.
But, like, you obviously have developed a good skill in the game. And like you said, you getting banned made you want to get better and stuff. And your knowledge in Counter-Strike runs super deep. And you've been around the franchise for many years, as you've just said. Were you ever involved in any type of team or organization? Or was this more of a just, like, get a couple friends, queue up, and have a good time sort of thing for you?
It was mostly a social thing. When I started getting into competitive, I did play in, I'm trying to remember, like Cal, Amateur League. I remember I did play a season of Maine, and then we did CEVO. I'm trying to remember all these leagues, but yeah, mostly just like the open leagues and playing with the team. And yeah, so it never in my mind where I was like, oh, I'm gonna be a pro Counter-Strike player. But I've always loved the game. It's just like not to the point because like my trajectory was completely different. It's like I'm gonna finish high school, I'm gonna go to college. I'm going to get a nice engineering degree, and then I'm going to work. And this is something I did for fun, like to relax afterwards. Which, I mean, Counter-Strike isn't the most relaxing thing, but...
And for the majority of, like, the beginning of your YouTube journey, like, you started making all types of videos in regards to CS Source, like tutorials, movement, aiming, all the necessities for Counter-Strike, really. What inspired you to make a YouTube channel to cover these topics after you started getting, like, really interested?
So I was playing Counter-Strike Source, and because I was one of the guys who was like, nah, 1.6 is better. And I didn't switch into Source for like 2 years or something like that. And finally, I played Source for the first time, and I was like, wow, this game's easy. Oh, the heads are so easy to hit. Oh my gosh. So I switched to Source. And they did an update in Source, which forced a 60 tick server consistency, like 60 tick rate.
Okay.
And I felt like it completely ruined the game. So I quit. And I started playing, when StarCraft 2 came out, I started doing StarCraft instead. So I was playing StarCraft Wings of Liberty. It's actually, my YouTube channel started making StarCraft videos and doing StarCraft commentary and playing like fun custom StarCraft games with my friends. The point where Counter-Strike came into it is because I was, when Global Offensive was kind of announced and I was considering getting back into the game, I had learned how to play StarCraft by watching all these great creators. like Day 9 is the one that pops into my head. I used to watch his live stream. And I looked around in Counter-Strike and there just wasn't the culture for that. There wasn't the resources for that because I was trying to learn the game and I couldn't find it. So I thought, "Oh, I'm going to actually try to just make a few simple tutorials for new players cuz it's a very difficult game to get into. It's one of those games that's difficult to learn and difficult to master."
Yeah.
So I feel like if you can get people over that hump of where they actually understand what's happening in the game, they understand recoil control and the movement and the economy and all of those things, then the game kind of opens up and it becomes more fun. And you have what I think is like the best gaming experience. So I wanted to make tutorials for like new players to kind of teach them the basics and get them into the game. And that was the content because I was making YouTube before that for many years. That was the content that kind of exploded on my channel and people really liked. So I made sure to keep doing that. And even to this day, when people think WarOwl, like they think, oh, he made the tutorials.
Hmm.
Like 10 years ago, they got people. I don't think I've made a tutorial in like 3 or 4 years or something, 5 years maybe.
Oh
But
wow.
yeah, so that content really resonated with people. So I was like, okay, this is good. I'm gonna do more of this.
And it's interesting that you say that too, because when I was talking with Sparkles on his episode, he was saying like there wasn't many YouTubers in the space when Counter Strike came out, and being a YouTuber, if you want to call it that, or content creator, there wasn't like typically a job back then. So like it was kind of a fresh like platform for quite literally everybody. And I don't know, like to me, maybe I'm just biased because like you're one of the first people I started watching when I got into Counter Strike. But like you are literally one of the OGs, probably the number one OG of CS:GO.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. That's really kind to say. Yeah, I think like back then there were only a few of us who were making videos. Um, so it was kind of an untapped market. So you could say in part of that, like my channel and how it's grown and everything is partly attributed to just like hitting Counter-Strike at the right time.
Yeah.
And then the audience exploded from that. But I was always doing YouTube for fun. I wasn't making any money for years and years and years, and I wasn't getting that many views for years and years and years. I just enjoyed doing it. It was just a fun hobby to do because it took all the things I was interested in and kind of combined them. So like I like public speaking, I like gaming, I like the esports stuff. Um, I like art, editing, music design, all that, like sound design. I like all of that stuff. So putting that all together was just like a fun hobby.
Yeah, it sounds like a no-brainer for sure.
Yeah.
So when CS:GO came out, it was my understanding that there was a lot of issues, much like CS2 that we've seen, but way worse. I've heard CS:GO's release was absolutely atrocious. I didn't start playing until I think late 2015. But after a while, it ends up getting fixed up and turned into the beautiful CS:GO that we all know and miss nowadays. Um, what were your thoughts on CS:GO when it came out? Like, obviously, this was like you said, you weren't treating it like a job. This was just kind of like, something you like to do. It was like a passion, and then it ended up being a job for you. But like with the launch being so bad, did that kind of deter you from wanting to like, oh man, maybe I should just not even bother trying to make videos for this, or did this not really bother you at all in that sense?
I saw the potential in Counter-Strike very early on, and I was very vocal about it because I saw what happened with StarCraft 2. So StarCraft, of course, huge esport, very big in Korea. And then when StarCraft 2 came out, you had this like scene develop. And that for a while, that was the esport. Which I think a lot of people forget that. And then League of Legends came out and kind of just ate its lunch. It's gone.
Hmm.
But I saw Counter-Strike as a better game suited for an esports environment because it's a game where anybody can watch it and understand what's going on. It's like very straightforward in terms of the game. It's like, oh, these five guys got to shoot the other five guys. There's no like flashing lights and
Yeah,
weird frog-like creatures doing barrel rolls and stuff.
no
It's just like,
abilities.
yeah, it's like everybody understands. Guy shoot guy, plant bomb, boom.
Yeah.
So I saw the potential in that early on, and my goal early on, I made like a little mission statement, I remember, was to help give feedback during the beta process and during that whole early process in order to try to help make the game the best way it could be. And in fact, if you go look at the patch notes, I don't know if they're still available, probably archived from that time, you will find a reference to me in the patch notes because I was so active in the forums and giving feedback and trying to help the game. It actually says in the patch notes, thank you to WarOwl from the forums. So they didn't even reference me as like a YouTuber or something like that.
Wow.
But yeah, early on, the game was originally conceived to be a port of Source, CS Source, for console. And they got a third-party developer called Hidden Path Entertainment to make it. And previously, they had worked on like a tower defense game and something like that. So it wasn't Valve who originally made it, and the vision kind of changed halfway through. I don't know what happened internally, but they decided, let's make this a PC game. Let's make this like a full new release. So that explains why there were so many like early problems and early issues with it. But once Valve took control of the development and started really honing down on tightening it up and making it good, it really did morph into, I would say Global Offensive was the best version of Counter-Strike, especially at the time. A lot of people still think 1.6, but I think Global Offensive kind of opened it up for more strategic stuff than 1.6 in terms of how the utility functions. I think Molotovs were a great introduction. Everybody hated those when they came out because I think I didn't see the potential in the Molotov yet. And they were overpowered when they came out. But yeah. So I also come from a background of software development, so I have an understanding of how that development cycle works, and I can see how it's not... Most people who play games do not understand how they're made and the process, which they don't have to, right? You're just playing the game, you're the consumer, which also explains why a lot of game companies don't communicate very much, because I probably would, to be honest, but I think that's just because people don't understand the development process. If you come out as a developer and say, we're going to do this, this, and this, and then it changes, or there's a reason why you can't do that, or it doesn't work, people are going to get mad because they're going to be like, well, you said this, you're a liar, you cheated us. So yeah, I kind of understood that and knew it was going to be like a slow process, and I kind of saw the vision that they were going for. Still was pulling teeth a few times to get them to do certain things. I remember early on being like, no, you need 2 flashbangs, not 1 flashbang, 2 flashbangs. You need that. You need otherwise the strategic options for the T's. It's not going to happen. So yeah, I remember that because we only had 1 flashbang when it first came out.
I did not know about the flashbang thing. That's interesting. But I remember, I don't know about you, but about the most, like the biggest, most standout patch for me was 100% the R8 revolver when it came out. I remember downloading that update. I was like, oh my god, this is crazy. And I opened my game and I'm like on the main menu. Oh my god, the revolver. Loaded into a game of cash for the entire match. Nobody was using anything else. It was just revolvers the whole fucking game.
And why would you?
Yeah.
That's WarOwl's first law of game design. Your players will find the most optimal way to play the game, and that is all they will do. So obviously the revolver was the most cost efficient, the best weapon in the game. You just shoot the body and they die. So yeah, it was super overpowered and it was really, really funny. So that happens many times. I think the worst of which was actually the AUG. So I have I'm gonna self-advertise a little bit.
Yeah.
I have a video on my channel where we took the values of all of the weapons and we reverted them to their most overpowered state. So we had the overpowered revolver, we had the overpowered deagle, we had the overpowered AUG, we had the overpowered SG, we had all of them. And yeah, I think that it was like the deagle and the AUG were the most powerful or something like that. But yeah, that's happened a lot. The Tech 9 also was broken at one point.
Oh yeah, and the CZ was really OP back in the day.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I don't know how that happens. Like, did you test it? Did you play it? It's like, obvious. I don't know how that. I don't know what the reasoning is for some of those for when that happens, but I think it's always funny. And as a content creator, it gives me content, so I don't really get mad about it.
Like the ragdoll thing from like earlier this week. The ragdolls, I don't know how the hell they managed to fuck something up to get that to happen, but like, dude, constant laughs for the next 48 hours. It was great.
So while that was happening, I'm in the middle of making a video going over Donk's aces from the major. And as I'm trying to show footage, which it's going to be in the video, every time Donk hits someone, their ragdoll goes boom. And I'm like, why? What happens? Why? It's so stupid. Like, players were getting hit and just like flying through the floor.
Yeah.
On.
I love goofy little shit like that doesn't break the game. So
that was silly.
So back to the whole YouTube thing. We kind of got off track, though. That might be my bad. But this was obviously like we were talking about. This was just a passion for you. There's just something that you like to do. At what point did you realize this was actually working for you and you saw that your numbers were increasing and, the checks started coming in and like the reality started hitting you? Like, when was this along your whole journey?
I was working as a software developer, and so I would wake up in the morning early. I'd get into work early, and I talked to my boss, and he was okay with it. He's like, yeah, whatever. If you do your work, I don't care. So I came in early, got all my work done by like 3 or 4 p.m., and left early. And went home and just worked on WarOwl until like midnight. Go to sleep, wake up, do it again. So
Wow.
I did that for about 3 years, I think. That's that structure, and I was drinking way too much 5-hour energy. It was unhealthy. Um, but yeah, I was grinding it, and I just developed a passion for it when I saw some of the videos doing better and some of the reception from people. Um, I don't fully remember when I decided like, okay, this is gonna work, but I do remember being at kind of like a low place in my life and wondering like, what am I doing? And I remember coming up with the decision of, okay, I'm young, I have I have not a lot of responsibilities right now. So I decided at that point, I'm going to give this a shot. I'm going to try to do something interesting, but I'm not going to be an idiot. I'm not just going to go, oh, I'm going to quit my job and be a YouTuber. I actually went about it in a smarter way. So I prepared. I looked at all my debts and I paid them all off. I actually took a period of time where I was like, I'm just going to spend everything to pay off my debts when I get it. So I paid off my car, I paid off my student loans, all that stuff. And that's the point where I didn't have any debts beside a mortgage. And then I saved up enough money to survive for like 6 months. And I told myself, if you can't pay your bills after 6 months, back to the cubicle. You're going back. So I gave myself that 6 months. And that's a motivator. And so I quit my job, gave my 2 weeks notice. I made a video about it, which is still up there, which is a little goofy because I look very different back then. I think the number one comment I got on the video is like, "Why do you not have a beard?" So I grew a beard. I was also medically obese at the time as well, which I've taken care of that. I did the work. So yeah, if it wasn't for the support of people who watch the videos, like you have access to all media ever created, infinite, immediate access. And these people are choosing to spend their precious time to watch my videos. So I am forever grateful for that. That just blows my mind. And if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't be able to do it, especially because the way that I was able to pay my bills early on is I would do live streaming and we would do like 24-hour streams and I would get the subs and the donations. That was what was actually paying my bills at the time. It wasn't YouTube. YouTube
Wow.
ad revenue sucks, by the way. I don't know if anybody knows that.
Yeah,
You probably
like
know that.
that's the thing is I think a lot of people, they see someone has, 1 million subscribers or something like, oh my God, that guy's probably fucking filthy rich. But like that's not really the case, dude. Like you get like your money from like brand deals and stuff mostly.
Yeah.
Donations, streaming.
Yeah, sponsorships is like the main way people make money on YouTube or like any social media.
Yeah, that's 100% it. But I admire the whole, the grind and like you definitely like that's like a really smart way to go about it. I have a buddy named Goldeck who's also in the CS scene, has a YouTube channel and Twitch channel and all that. And when he was on the podcast early last year, he was telling me like quite literally the polar opposite. He took a gamble on himself, quit his job, and had a little bit of money and said, "Okay, we're gonna make this work. There's only one option here, and it's to succeed." And he did it, and he made it work. But like, shout out to him for that. But the fact that you went out and you made it work, and you paid off all your debts, 6 months worth of money to live off of, and just locked in. Like that's a really courageous thing to do.
So I think, yeah, obviously not. I'm not saying to do one thing or do another thing. I think you do whatever works for you. Because you think about success and how to, you know what? I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you how to be successful. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Are you ready for this? Because it's not like, oh, you need to be safe. No, you need to quit your job. No, you need to take risks. No, I'll teach it to you. So a lot of people, when you talk to content creators, they will be humble and they will say, oh, well, I just got lucky. It was just dumb luck. There's nothing special about me. I don't deserve any of this. And do you know why they say that? They say that because it is their job to make you like them. And they're really, really good at it. And that makes you like them. So I'm going to tell you the truth. And the truth is that, yes, it is luck to an extent, but it's more than that. So I have a prop,
Oh, okay. Here we go.
which everybody always has everywhere if they're a nerd, and that's a D20. So
Okay.
if a 20 on this is a success, a critical success, and I roll it, I got a 5. Oh well, I give up. Well, no, I'm gonna roll it again, and 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 I'm gonna roll it again. And it's not getting a 20, so the point's not getting made, but I think you understand where this is going.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
Basically, luck, it is luck, but you have to increase your chances of getting lucky. There we go. We got it.
Boom.
However, if I also take this D6 and I roll the D6, I can roll that D6 until the end of time. It's never going to pop a 20. It's not going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So it's two things. It's luck. It's how much time and effort you put into it, which is how many times you're increasing your luck, increasing the times that you roll the die. And you have to roll the right die. If you do the same thing over and over and over and over and over and over again and nothing ever happens, you're rolling the wrong die. You're not going to hit a 20 if you're rolling a D6. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense, and that's like a really unique, it's a simple but unique way to look at it, and like you're not wrong. You're not wrong at all when you say that.
Yeah. So that's my advice. Because if you that's like breaking it down to it's like the base level. It's like you increase the amount of times, you increase your chance of getting lucky through skill, hard work, determination, stick-to-itiveness, anything you want to call it.
And like when this started working for you, and things were starting to pay off, and like you're seeing the numbers increase and stuff, and this is looking like it can replace your old job as a software dev. Like, do you talk to your family about this, or close friends, and are they like what the hell do you mean you're making videos on YouTube and getting money for it, and this could be a job? Like, what was that whole situation like for you?
Yes, absolutely. So I went to my parents and I said, "Mother and Father, I am going to quit my job and become a YouTuber." And my mother looked at me. She paused for a few seconds and she said, "No, you're not." Like, why did I go to college? Why did I do all that? And my dad was all for it, though. He
Oh,
was, they were both, my parents are very supportive, but yeah, my dad he's like, you have to take risks in order to achieve anything. My mom likes to play it safe. So it's good to have the angel and the devil, because both can be helpful at certain times, right? My best friend, who I've been friends with this guy since we were kids, when I finally made pulled the trigger, quit my job to do YouTube, he was like, "It's about time. You should have done that a while ago." He's like, "Of course you're going to do that." So he just kind of knew. He's like, "Of course you're going to do something in entertainment or something like that." He's like, "You shouldn't be programming." So why didn't he tell me that sooner, though?
it's awesome, and I think it's like the whole conversation, whether it's like, being a content creator as a job, or just something like the skins market, being with all the money that it's got, and you can make money, and I opened this knife, it's worth $800. Like, telling people that isn't in this generation about it, it's so funny to me. I love it so much.
I just don't. So, like, if anybody asks me what I do, I go, "Oh yeah, I'm in marketing," which is not a lie. I'm in marketing. I run a business. I'm in internet marketing. Because it's that conversation is like kind of annoying.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like to try to explain to somebody who doesn't, like, you get the same questions and it's like, all right, I don't really want to deal with that. And also because if I do anything IRL, I like to have a separation between me making my content and then me as a person.
Okay.
Because yeah, I like making videos. I like being creative, and I like seeing people's response to it. And what I don't like is the whole like fame, public figure type aspect to it. I don't like that. I don't want it. So it. By the way, if you see me in public and it's like, "Oh, hey, it's work," I'm fine with it. Don't worry about it. I'm happy to greet you and shake your hand and take a picture with you or whatever. But I just like my own private life and not to mix those two.
Yeah, for sure. And with some of the stories you hear about like people swatting or just weird, creepy people these days, like it is really important to separate, your public life from your private life. And everybody does need privacy at the end of the day. That's mega important.
Yeah, that's the other aspect to it is the safety aspect to it. But I mean, if people do that, I mean, if people want to do that stuff, they're going to be able to do it. You can't really stop people.
Yeah.
So I have that mentality of like, if it happens, it happens. Like, what do I do? Do I call up the police to prevent a swatting? Do I call up like the police station and say, hello, excuse me, Mr. Officer. If somebody calls you and says there's a hostage situation from this number, it's just a joke. Don't worry about it. Click. I don't know if that works. If that's the method.
Well, I had Summit 1G on last year, and he was telling me that he actually has called his local police department and said, "Hey, this is who I am. This is what sometimes goes on in this line of work, and you know, if you guys get crazy calls like this, take it with a little bit of caution, and it might not be 100% true." And he said it worked for him. So he said the cops with him are cool. So I don't know, maybe.
He's on another level though.
Well,
I'm
yeah,
a
for
I'm a
sure.
middle class creator.
Okay.
I have to
Let's
worry about
not.
that stuff less, but
Yeah, and not that he's a toxic person, but you're also not a toxic person. So you guys don't attract, that kind of negative. Like, why would someone hate you enough to the point where they would do something like that? You guys aren't that group of people, but there are
no,
just shitty
there,
people.
no, there's always people who do. Like
Yeah,
I've gotten so much crap, but it just doesn't matter, right?
yeah, it's a
Um,
shame.
yeah, anybody, it doesn't matter. Like someone's gonna get. You're gonna if you post stuff on the internet, you're going to get hate. So you have to grow a thick skin to deal with it.
Yep. I mean, you can't take everything to heart at the end of the day.
Yeah, if you get like offended by everything, if somebody writes like, "Oh, you're a piece of garbage," and I'm gonna like, if that actually bothers you, you probably shouldn't pursue something with content creation or anything online because that's going to happen. 100%. There's just weirdos who act that way. They're mostly probably kids. Let's be honest.
Yeah, 100%. I agree. I wanted to also touch base on like your accolades and things that you've achieved. Like you've had an incredible 14 years so far, and you've been doing this for like probably what feels like forever from your point of view. You've created multiple platforms that have hundreds of thousands of followers, 1.4 million subscribers on YouTube, just shy of half a billion total views. The WarOwl sticker in the game, like it goes on and on and on. How has the ride been for you so far? And when you look back at where you started and then you look at where you are now, like how does that make you feel?
Honestly, I probably should, but I don't really think about that. It might help me if I thought about that because I'm just always thinking about what I'm doing right now. I can tell you that that doesn't really change anything. And I went through quite an experience. I mean, it's fun and I appreciate it from like it's great having my sticker in the game. That was like the greatest thing, right?
Yeah.
But so I said like I used to have that mentality of like you set the goal, you achieve the goal, you win. But I don't have that anymore because I went through the whole process pretty young, right? So I had that lifelong goal of I want to have 1 million subs on YouTube, and I committed myself to it, and I worked towards it, and I achieved it somehow. That's a rare thing to actually accomplish, and I felt happy for like a day, and then you wake up the next day, and it's like, oh, well, what do I do now? Do I keep
Damn.
making do I keep making videos? What's the next thing? So I'm not sure if it's entirely helpful. I know it works for some people, right? But to set a big goal and then aim toward the goal because as you're trying to achieve the goal, you are always in a state of failure because you haven't achieved the goal.
Mm-hmm.
You are always a failure until you achieve the goal. Then you get it and it's like, great, what now? So I think it's better to try to focus on what you're doing in the moment and what you're doing every day and trying to improve what you're doing every day and whatever like the state of who you are at that moment. I just think that's a better way to think about it. I'm sure there's a better way to explain that.
No, no, I understand what you mean, but like, did you kind of hit a wall? Like, for instance, with the whole 1 million subs thing, did you hit a wall and you're like, kind of like panicking, like not sure what to do, or?
No, I wouldn't say that. Not hit a wall, not panic or anything like that. It's just like I achieved my lifelong goal and I was like 24 or something like that. So it's like, okay, what now? What do I set to go to 2 million? You're just always in that state of I haven't done it yet. So I just changed my focus to what I'm doing every day.
I think that's a safe bet because I'm the same kind of way. I'm a day to day kind of guy. Like I don't have a 5 year goal or anything. Maybe like roughly, but it only takes one day for things to start changing. You know what I mean? So I feel like it's kind of a weird thing to like really lock in on like okay this and this is gonna happen, and then maybe one day something happens in your life that just totally just doesn't make whatever you wanted to do possible anymore. I don't know. I think day to day is definitely the smartest way to go about anything, in my opinion.
Yeah, horrible stuff happens.
Yeah, it's a shame, but best of luck. And you made it this far, and I think 2 million. I think you're on pace to do 2 million. I don't think the future's looking
I
bright.
don't think I've gotten a sub in 10 years, but I appreciate that. I feel if I actually like got back into it, I've been really lazy lately. Um, and I think I probably should get back into it because it's something I enjoy doing. But I had a really bad year. I'm not going to talk about it, but just other stuff that doesn't have to do with the WarOwl stuff. But I had a really bad year. Um, so yeah, I'm getting back into it though. I'm making videos again, so we'll see. We'll see what we're posting.
Beauty. And it sucks to hear that you had a bad year and everything, but sometimes it's good, I bet, to fall back and just kind of enjoy what you've done for yourself and appreciate things that you've done, and you can kind of stop and look for a minute at what you've been able to accomplish, and maybe a break like that will motivate you to come back and go back at it even stronger, and you know what I mean.
I will tell you that the number one motivator that throughout my entire career has been meeting people in person, going to the events, doing the meet and greets, or just talking to random people who watch my videos. Because when I'm actually working, when I'm making stuff, I'm in my basement. I don't actually, I'm talking into a camera. I don't actually get to see the people watching my videos. I don't get to have an audience out in front of me and kind of like play off of that audience. So actually meeting the people in person and the things that you people have said to me, that's the biggest motivator that I think, like, out of everything by a lot. Um I think that's so far I think that's like the best experience that anyone could ever have. And that's to have some random person you do not know come up to you and tell you how much of a difference you've made in their life. That means a lot to me to hear that. That's like I hope everybody can experience that one day because it's the best thing.
And it's so crazy, like and for a guy like you with the views you get and stuff like that, it probably feels weird. You're just like watching the analytics and you're just seeing the graph just going up, and you're just like hundreds of thousands of people are watching some of these videos, and it's like mystery people almost. And then you go to an event, and I'm sure fucking flocks of people go up to you, and that's probably feels so self-accomplishing.
Yes. So I can tell you that when I was, well, I don't want to like up myself up or anything, so I'm not going to do that. But yeah, it's just the most rewarding thing is to get to talk to the people and hear what they have to say. You wouldn't believe the things that they've said. It's amazing. Amazing to hear those stories.
Do you ever have like a weird fan where you're like, ugh, like, come on, why are you acting like that? You ever have people
No,
like that?
everybody is awesome, and if there wasn't, I wouldn't even say.
Perfect. Love
I
to hear
played a
it.
lot of Among Us. I know how to bluff.
So throughout your whole career, what would you say has been your favorite part of what you do? Whether it be interacting with your fan base, like we were just talking about, being able to have a job where you're your own boss and have your own schedule. Is there anything that you can put your finger on and say that is easily my favorite part about what I do?
Yes, and I just went over it, so I'm sorry to snipe your question before you asked it.
All good, all good.
But
So
yeah, the aspect of like working from when I was a software dev and I worked from home, I didn't do anything. I didn't get anything done. So I actually don't like working from home. I don't like that aspect of it because there's too many distractions. It's difficult. It's very difficult. Especially considering that my job involves having a video game open. Like if I'm editing, like I always have the distraction immediately in front of me. So it's just kind of a tough thing to deal with. The freedom though is amazing. The freedom of I get to do whatever I want to do. And you were talking earlier about watching analytics. I don't look at the analytics because it gives me horrible anxiety. I hate the analytics. You imagine what it's like when you work really hard on something and you put it out there, and YouTube goes, "Yeah, this is a 10 out of 10. This is the 10 worst video out of the last 10 that you posted based on the views." I hate that. I actually, I think that's the main reason I haven't been posting in the last like year or two, is because I enjoy making videos, but I don't like posting them anymore.
Oh,
Because
wow.
I hate dealing with the anxiety of that. It's just awful. So I don't even look at it at all. I've set all of my links. So when I go to YouTube, I don't even go to that page. I go to my videos tab. I don't even go to the main YouTube control panel, which you know what I'm talking about, where it
Yeah.
shows you all the information.
Mhm.
Screw that. I'm not Mr. Beast. I'm not going to sit there and go, "Oh, I said the word here and it went down by 10%, so we're not going to say that word anymore because people click off the video." I don't care about that. I'm going to try to make the best content that I can.
And at this point in time, like you've established yourself very well. And when you say WarOwl, like people know WarOwl and what you're about. So, you don't have to really go through with a fine comb and, do certain things. People will just naturally be attracted to anything that you put your name on. So I could understand why you don't want to look at the analytics too. Cause like, even sometimes I have an episode like, or like even on my main YouTube channel or on the podcast or something, I think it's really great and I think it does good. And then I go to the analytics and I'm kind of just like, oh, that was a kick to the gut. Like that kind of sucks. But
Yeah, the thing that broke me with that is I started looking at the retention graph, which I think if you're a YouTuber, that's considered the most important thing to do, is to look at your retention graph, see where people clicked off, see where people rewatch, see that information. And what I noticed is that, well, this is interesting information. I'll just tell that to everybody. If it's like I'm playing the game and I'm playing well and it's like a clutch situation, nobody clicks off. And if I'm just speaking and explaining something and in the middle of like a monologue, nobody clicks off. But if I make a joke or do something like a funny edit or a funny aside, I lose people. And when I saw that, I was like, no, that's my favorite thing to do. That's the personality of the entire video. That's why people watch it. It's like you can watch any video, but I'm giving my personality into the video as I make them. That's what makes it unique from somebody who makes the exact same video. And the
yeah.
fact that people clicked off of that, I was like, no. And that kind of like broke me with that analytics stuff. And that's where I was just like, screw this. I'm not even looking at this anymore.
Yeah, just kind of stick to your gut and just do what you like to do. And if people like it, then they'll like it. And if they don't, well, screw them.
Yeah, I think with YouTube and where it's going as we go forward is we're going to enter, this is my prediction. I don't know if it's 100%, right? Just my prediction. We'll enter an age of authenticity. We've been in an age of spectacle, where it's all about the biggest, the grandest, the most eye-catching, that kind of stuff. I think people are sick of that. And we're going to, especially with YouTube, because you have shorts, you have the TikTok, Instagram Reels, those sorts of things, which that's for people to just mindlessly, duh. But with YouTube, you have like the long form content, you have these personalities, you have people that you kind of like grow to like, oh, I'm watching this person, I understand how this person thinks, so I know how to like process what they're saying. I think we're going to enter an age where authentic content, where people are being authentic and talking about things they actually care about and like, I think that's gonna be the next YouTube age, which we've already kind of seen that start.
Okay. Well, good prediction. I like it.
I hope it comes true.
Yeah, hopefully. There's a lot of fake weirdos out on the internet as a whole, let alone YouTube. And it's just like, ugh. I don't know. It's cringe.
They're
People.
doing it right. They're doing it right. And if the goal is I'm making a business, I'm gonna increase my profit, I'm gonna get the views. Like they're actually, I have nothing against that. They're doing it right. They're actually making the right decisions. It's just like I don't want to do that because I don't care. If I want to go make money, I go do something else.
Yeah. No, for sure. I wanted to ask you as well, what are your thoughts on CS2 and the future of Counter-Strike as of right now? At the beginning, obviously, things were very rough, as we all know, but lately they seem like they're a little bit better despite the Christmas break and, haven't really been getting any updates or anything like that. You've experienced a similar situation to the launch of CS2 with CSGO. Do you think that this is still a bright future for Counter-Strike, or do you think Valve is lacking in areas where it could kill the game eventually?
I don't think it's the same at all. I think Global Offensive was in a much worse state than CS2 was when it came out. And if You go back and you play Global Offensive and then you play CS2, all of the differences will be very, very apparent. And that's also a video we've already recorded, which I'm editing right now.
Oh,
Yeah. So I mean, I guess I can tell you what I learned from that is that Counter-Strike 2 seems better in every single aspect except Global Offensive. The shooting felt smoother, the movement like it felt snappier, and that's the most. And the spray control, I could actually do recoil control in it. Which I think is an aspect of visual feedback. I don't actually think it's a problem with the game, but I think it's a problem with how they do visual feedback. But so it felt better to play. However, what was I even saying? It's comparing Global Offensive to Counter Strike 2. Yeah, everything else on CS2's side felt a lot better. I don't know why that is. I don't know why it felt better. It may be because I'm used to it, but I don't think like everybody else is saying the same thing, so it can't be that, right? So I think it might have to do, and this is just I'm just guessing here. I haven't tested this yet. It might have to do with just 64 tick servers over 128 tick. I think that might just be it. It might be that simple.
yeah. I don't know, man. This subtick thing, like, I turned off my damage prediction because that shit was getting annoying. But
Yeah, I
dude,
had that fail a few times, and I was like, okay, I'm done with that.
yeah.
You just got me killed.
And then you throw a subtick in the mix too, and it's just like, you'd be behind a wall for like 3 solid seconds, and you're dying, and it's not a wall bang. Like it's, I'd much rather 64 tick at this point. I think it makes much more sense. I don't think they really know what they're doing with subtick. I don't know.
I don't think that has anything to do with subtick.
No.
No, I think it's a misunderstanding of what subtick actually is. And also I tested the peaker's advantage. I have a whole video about that where I actually set up 2 monitors and 2 computers side by side, and I used a VPN to mimic lag. And the peaker's advantage was kind of the same, except the difference was in CS2. If you are a low ping player and you're playing against a high ping player, it's as if you're a high ping player. So you don't get the low ping advantage as much in CS2. That was the only difference.
Oh.
So I think what results in the getting killed behind a wall, right? Because the other guy, he did get you on his screen, but on your screen you were behind the wall, so it feels bad. And so think about it. Think about it this way from a networking perspective. Counter Strike 2, the whole point of it was what you see is what you get. If you remember that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you saw what was actually going on, it might not feel good to play. I think that might be what's happening.
Okay, that makes sense. And the whole like lag thing that you were just talking about with the low ping versus high ping player, that could be it too. Because I know for sure back in CS:GO, like when you'd see someone lagging, like you know, I don't know, maybe like 70 ping or something, like you could see that from your end. But I feel like in CS2, it's kind of like a blurred line. You don't really see it as much.
Yeah, it's just if you're playing against a high ping player and you're low ping, it also gives you an inconsistent experience, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're a low ping player and you're fighting another low ping player, feels good. Then as a high ping player, feels different. Which gives you an inconsistency, which isn't. It makes it just feel bad when you're playing.
For
I
sure.
think because as players, like we don't know what's happening in the code. All we can really do is say this feels bad, or I can like go frame by frame and show and see what's happening or something like that. So that's like all we can really do in terms of the feedback to it. So I hope that they are able to improve the game. It feels good to me. The only problem is I think the like I haven't had the problem that a lot of people have with the game, and I don't know why that is. Could it be because I have a good internet connection and a good computer, and maybe it doesn't work as well on smaller rigs or like more budget rigs? Because we know Global Offensive always did really well on the budget rigs.
Oh yeah.
That could be it.
It could be. I mean, I don't know. With anything Valve related, especially regarding Counter Strike, I feel like it's really just who fucking knows? Like they're just so mysterious.
Yes, in terms of their communication, and
Yeah.
I think it's obvious why, because every time they communicate, you just get a bunch of like hate and negativity. It's like that's by the way, for people who are new to Counter Strike, it's always been that way. Earth astronaut, gun astronaut, always has been. Every time anything changes with Counter Strike, there's going to be pushback, there's going to be hatred, there's going to be all of that negativity. That's just part of Counter Strike. So, I think it's just because Counter-Strike at its core, the strength of the game is the base mechanics of it. It's because it's the shooter that feels the best to play. It's the simplest one. It's the one that has the best like feedback from your input out of any of those other games that you play, and you can like instantly understand what's going on. So anything that changes moves away from what makes Counter-Strike great compared to the other games. Whereas other games like, oh, we're going to introduce 5 new characters and the whole thing is all a mess now.
Yeah.
It's just a different mentality with Counter-Strike. So I totally understand why that's happening.
For sure. So when it comes to the future of WarOwl, what can the people listening look out for? Do you have any plans or, any new goals maybe that you're trying to hit or achieve?
I think it's best to not say those things because then you set an expectation. So I'm not going to say. You know what I will say is that I'm going to be taking 2025 and I'm going to be experimenting with new types of content to see what works. I'm basically just taking like an off year, but it's not an off year because I'm still working, and I will just be making different stuff because like my channel's gone through a bunch of different phases and different types of videos worked at different times. And I feel like some of the stuff that I've been making the past like 3 or 4 years hasn't been working lately. So I want to try to experiment and kind of figure out what the next thing is so that I can keep going. I think it is rare in content creation, especially like YouTube or something like that, to have a career that's been as long as mine and to like, actually still be going. So I think you have to, and I learned that from software dev, because when you're in the tech industry, you have to always learn the new technology. You're always learning, you're always a student. And I think the same thing is true with content creation. So you have to always be learning, experimenting, trying new things, and expanding and kind of learning what works at all times, or you're just going to fall behind. Like the saddest thing, I hate this because there's a lot of great YouTubers who I like to watch, who I like, and I've in the past, and they make the same thing for years and years and years and years and years, and they don't ever change it. And it's just sad to see. It feels like rotting.
Yeah.
And I don't want to rot. So I need water that flows. No rot grows in it.
Mm-hmm.
If water doesn't move and it's stagnant, all kinds of crap grows in it. So got to be moving water.
Yeah. No, I like the way.
Did Bruce Lee say that? I don't know where that came from. Someone else said that.
Well, it sounds good from your voice, so we'll say that WarOwl came up with that one.
Okay, I'll take that.
No, but I like the way that you look at that because it's a fine line, really. You start with certain type of content, it works, and people know you and like you for it, and obviously you want to keep following that because that's what's led you to the success that you've had. But after a while, and it's been we've seen it before with certain people in the past. If you just milk that for the rest of time, like people are gonna get uninterested eventually. It's just a matter of time. And I think it's pretty cool that you want to start experimenting for new videos. I personally can't wait to see that. And all it takes is that one video, and maybe it's something completely different than what you've done already, but it's something different, and maybe that'll be the one that stands out to maybe the new CS2 audience that people may not know you, which I fucking doubt because everybody knows you, and that could be like passing the torch off to yourself again and continuing another really good run. You know what I mean? I kind of rambled there.
Yeah, no, I understand exactly what you mean, and I'll add to it that not just the audience would get bored of it, and I think that the person making it would get bored of it, wouldn't you? If you just do the same thing over. I don't want to do that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to do that. That's not why I do a creative job. I don't do that creative job to do the same thing over and over again. If I want to do the same thing over and over again, I go do something else. Like I could do that. I could just go get a job.
Yeah.
I don't want to. I love making videos, and I think it's what I was born to do, because I think that everybody has certain talents and certain skills and certain things they're interested in that they develop over time. And everybody is unique in the sense that you have a different combination of those things. So I understand a little bit of software development, not great at it, right? But I understand it a little bit. I have a degree and stuff, and I worked in it, but I'm not I'm not a wizard at it. Playing Counter-Strike, I'm okay. I'm not bad at the game. Well, some people would argue, but I'm like top 10% or something like that, right? Top 5%. Public speaking, I love doing it. I enjoy it. I'm not the best at it. I'm not like see, I failed right there because I tried to think of an example and I couldn't think of it. Um, I like making jokes and making people laugh. Not the best. I'm not a comedian. I can't go do stand up comedy. But like in a group of people, I'm probably like the top 10% at making people laugh. So like you take all of those and you combine them together and you have a unique person. And I think when you take those for me, you get Counter-Strike YouTuber. So that's what I do. I think that's what I was supposed to do.
I mean, it's just amazing to me, like, when you break it down like that, like, it makes sense. But to see that you've formed, like, you've put a piece of this and a piece of that and a piece of this, and you've merged it all together, like, that's amazing, dude. Like, not a lot of people can pull that off.
I think everybody can. And I'll tell this to people watching. If you I actually want you to do this. I want you to sit down. I want you to get out a notepad or something, whatever to write on. And I want you to get a list of your things that you're good at, that you're interested in, and write them down and look at them. And if you're not happy with it, you can add new things to the list.
Yep.
You can just say, I want to learn this now, and then you go and learn it. But my only caution to that is if you pick something that you don't like and you're not interested in it, you're not going to do it and you're not going to get good at it. Because you only get good at things you do over and over again.
Yep.
So make sure you pick things that you like.
And writing down on a notepad, or like getting yourself like a whiteboard like I've got, or just a calendar or something that you can physically write down on and hang up somewhere so that it's slapping you in the face every time you come into your room. I think that is so important for if you want to do something like content creating, if you just want to make a change, maybe you want to change your diet or something, I don't know. Anything that you want to make a change to in your life, I feel like it's so important to have that visual, like it just staring right at you when you're walking into the room.
Haunting you.
Yeah.
Isn't that a David Goggins thing? He would write mean things about himself and put them in the mirror so he had to look at them. I think that's for a David Goggins thing.
It sounds crazy, but like it's smart, man. It's a good idea.
Mm.
But that kind of concludes all of my questions that I've had for you. So thank you for what you do for Counter-Strike. Thank you for doing this right here. It means a lot, especially from a young Bizzy. Appreciates this big time. And I'm sure the people that are listening to this will appreciate it mega too. First question I have for you before you leave is, are you attending the Austin Major? Do you have plans to do that?
I'll say thank you very much for having me on your podcast. It was very fun. And I took a list at the people you've talked to before, and it's a lot of people I know who are super cool people. So there's a lot of fun stuff to listen to on your podcast. I would recommend people check it out and see, oh, that person, I know who that is. I have not made any plans to go to the Austin Major just yet. That's so because I'm a content creator, I have to like figure that out.
Oh, true.
If I'm doing something, if I'm part of it, if I'm doing sponsorship, I don't know. I would like to be part of it. So we'll see what happens. Because that's cool that we have the Austin Major. By the way, I was there in person when it was announced. Actually, they announced that to the crowd at Dallas.
No way.
Yeah, they told us, and they were like, "Don't tell anybody," and they told the crowd. So that was cool. I was like the first person to hear it.
Wow.
Like a first person not behind the scenes, first normal person to hear it, which is cool.
Wow, crazy. But for the last part of my show, I give the Sean Evans treatment, as people have said in the past. I'd like to give the guests,
look at different cameras.
Yeah, that one over there. So if there's anything that you want to, if you want to promote to the people, if there's like a message you want to give, if there's shout outs, anything at all, the floor is yours, and feel free to end the episode.
Oh yeah, you can find me at youtube.com/TheWarOwl. I post videos. That's my main thing. That's what I do.
All right, guys, and there you have it, the WarOwl episode. Something I've been working on with WarOwl since before Christmas, and he's a man of his word. He's stuck to his guns, and here it is. Shout out to WarOwl, very cool guy. We had a good conversation after the episode in regards to content creating and little strategies and stuff like that, kind of giving me some tips and stuff. So he didn't have to do that. He's just, to me, he comes across as a very genuine person. I think you guys can all get that from watching his videos. I mean, I don't think the guy has a fake bone in his body. All of my links are in the description. Go check out that merch. All the WarOwls links will be in the description. Go check him out. And if you're not subbed to WarOwl already, go do it. What are we waiting for here? We will be back next Friday. Thank you all for checking out today's episode. I gotta start figuring out some stuff to do for the 50th and 100th episode special because we're getting a lot of episodes done really quick here. But anyways, you guys have a great Friday. Have a great weekend. We will see you next Friday with a banger guest. Much love, everybody. Till next time, y'all.